Who's passing you right now while you're still getting ready? Not because you're incapable, not because you're lazy, but because you keep renegotiating the start. You call it preparation, but it's really permission to delay. Another week, another tool, another plan, another once things calm down. And the whole time, you get to stay one step away, close enough to feel talented, far enough to never be tested. Here's the trap. Almost becomes protection. As long as you're almost there, your potential can't be judged. Your ego can't be bruised. Your identity stays clean. Today, we're going to break that pattern. I'll show you what your nervous system is actually doing, the 3 psychological forces that keep you hovering at the edge, and a simple protocol to grind without burning out. And near the end, I'll give you the one move that makes starting impossible to negotiate while protecting your energy. Stay with me until the end. Let's name the safety of the starting line. You can't fail if you're not finished. Unfinished is reversible. Finished is final. That finality feels like judgment. So you stay in motion without exposure, busy but unmeasured. You know the quiet moves, certification stacking. You keep collecting badges because credentials feel like progress. System tweaking. You adjust templates, calendars, dashboards because optimization feels like control. Endless first drafts. You build version after version because refining sounds responsible. If you're being honest, none of these are about the outcome. They're about protection. And here's the part most people get wrong. It's not laziness. It's self-protection dressed as diligence. Preparation preserves your self-image as capable. Completion risks exposure. As long as you're preparing, you're still the person who could. The potential self stays pristine. The evaluated self never shows up. No scoreboard, no evidence, no wound. There's an invisible tax here. Every time your promises outpace your deliveries, your credibility erodes, not just with others. With yourself, you stop believing your own deadlines. You stop trusting your own word. The tax compounds quietly. There's also a dopamine loop. Novelty pays fast. Planning, shopping for tools, setting up systems. Your brain tags those as wins. The payout from finishing arrives later. It's uncomfortable. There's friction. So your nervous system steers you to the cheap reward and away from the heavy lift. Let's name the psychology underneath this negotiation. Most people think they have a motivation problem. They don't. They have an uncertainty problem and an identity problem that create completion anxiety. When you understand those forces, you stop fighting the wrong war. You stop adding more planning to cure fear. You start designing small, controlled exposures to done that retrain safety. So the trap isn't work avoidance, it's consequence avoidance. Not because you're weak, but because you're protecting who you think you are. That protection has a cost, and that cost shows up in trajectory, not just in time. Here's the model in plain English. 3 forces keep you one step away. Intolerance of uncertainty, identity protection, and completion anxiety. They don't operate in isolation. They stack. Like rent, like tax, like interest. Miss a payment in one, the others get more expensive. Intolerance of uncertainty first. Unfinished equals reversible. You can still pivot, still edit, still retreat. Finished equals fixed. Your brain treats fixed like a cliff. It hates cliffs. Your nervous system prefers doors that stay cracked open. That's why you love drafts and options. Drafts mean exit routes. Options mean less pressure. The cost? You never step onto solid ground. No footing, no force. Identity protection, next. There are 2 selves here, the potential self and the evaluated self. The potential self is limitless. It can be great in theory. The evaluated self is specific. It's on the record. The moment you ship, the potential collapses into the actual. That collapse feels like a loss of status, even if the outcome is positive, because it's smaller than the fantasy. That gap stings. So you keep the potential self on the pedestal. You feed it with plans and previews. You never invite it down to be tested. Completion anxiety is the result. Not fear of failure, fear of permanent judgment. Not because the world is cruel, but because your inner standard is. You're not afraid of doing badly once. You're afraid of having to live with a line in your story. This is what my work looks like. So you keep your work in motion. You call it refining. It's really delaying the moment of definition. Now, let's make it concrete. Case Study 1, the Certification Collector. They've enrolled in 5 programs this year. They know frameworks, acronyms, and best practices. But nothing is deployed. Why? Each certificate buys another month where competence is assumed, not tested. Their profile grows. Their portfolio doesn't. The ratio is the tell. Hours studying versus hours shipping. Heavily skewed to study. Case Study 2, the System Optimizer. Beautiful dashboards, perfect calendar blocks, a library of templates, zero publishing. The system becomes the product. It's safe because it's internal. It looks like control. It's actually a delay mechanism. The nervous system gets a sense of order without the risk of reception. Case Study 3, the Perfection Reviser. 90% done manuscripts. A nearly final app, an almost ready portfolio. Each pass promises to remove one more flaw, but the closer it gets to done, the louder the anxiety. So the goalposts move. Done becomes a horizon that never arrives. But here's where the responsibility comes back to you. You're not negotiating with the world. You're negotiating with safety. You're choosing short-term relief over long-term respect. The real damage isn't the days you lose. It's the identity you forfeit. Every non-shipped artifact is a vote for the potential self. Every shipped artifact is a vote for the reliable self. Let's talk ratios. Setups versus payoffs. Planning time versus release time. If your calendar shows heavy setup and thin release, that ratio is a mirror. You're optimizing for the feeling of control, not for impact. That ratio predicts trajectory. Because work that never leaves your desk can't compound. Non-public work has no feedback, no network effects, no reputation gain. That's the invisible tax on your future. Here's the evidence lens as in simple terms. Your nervous system tags done as a threat because done means exposure. Exposure means evaluation. Evaluation means possible exclusion. Your biology is old. It still treats social risk like survival risk, so it pushes you into behaviors that feel safe, more prep, more polish, more proof. That's not weakness. That's wiring. But wiring can be retrained. A quick micro story. You had an almost launch. The page was built. The copy was written. You had 3 people ready. Then you told yourself, one more tweak. It felt responsible. It kept your identity intact. It kept your impact at 0. The moment passed. You called it timing. It was avoidance. So what do you do with this? First, you stop framing the problem as a motivation issue. It's a reliability issue. You stop asking for inspiration and start building proof. Small, repeated proof that your nervous system can tolerate done. Second, you shift the metric. Not ideas generated, receipts created. Not hours planned, artifacts shipped. Here's the move. Controlled exposure. You titrate done like a dose. Not heroic launches, not all or nothing. Small, specific completions with clear recipients. That's how you lower the threat tag and build trust in yourself. Your identity changes through evidence, not intention. Now that you understand the structure, the next step is mechanical. You'll cut scope. You'll set short clocks. You'll require a public receipt. You'll review only after shipping. That protocol isn't about speed. It's about respect. Respect for your future. Respect for your word. Respect for the person you say you are when no one is watching. Here's the move: reliability over inspiration. You don't wait to feel ready. You become the person who finishes small, on schedule, repeatedly. Identity shifts through receipts, not intentions. Rule 1. Scope cut. Finish ugly, on purpose. Set a non-negotiable boundary. The work must fit inside. 1 page, not a report. 1 demo, not a platform. 1 draft, not the book. If it can't be finished inside the boundary, the scope is wrong. Cut again. The point isn't polish, it's proof. Rule 2. Deadline scarcity. Set a 48-hour clock with a single output artifact. Countdown visible. No parallel tasks. You're training your nervous system to tolerate a short runway and a clean landing. The constraint is the therapy. The clock turns someday into now. Rule 3. Public receipt. Delivery must be witnessed by at least 1 real person or platform. A real email sent, a post published, a pull request merged. Private completions don't rewrite identity. Public ones do. You need the social friction. It's accountability without drama. Rule 4. Review window. You don't autopsy the work before it ships. You ship, then you review. Post-mortem after delivery, not before. 2 questions only. What met the scope? What broke the scope? Capture fixes for the next cycle. Close the file. Use tiny permissions when anxiety spikes. A quick check, a quick glance, a quick look, then ship. Not 10 checks, not 1 more pass. 1 breath, 1 glance, send. Nervous system strategy. Titrate exposure weekly. 1 small completion every 7 days for 6 weeks. Same day, same format, same scope. Rules. You're teaching the body that done doesn't equal exile. Predictability lowers threat. Repetition builds trust. Replacement dopamine. Track completions, not plans. Count receipts, not ideas. A simple ledger. Date, artifact, recipient. Watch the stack grow. That stack is compounding credibility. With others, with yourself. Everything changes when the ratio flips. More payoffs than setups. More receipts than drafts. The protocol isn't punishment. It's a simple contract. You protect time. You narrow scope. You land the plane. Then you learn. 1 last edge. If you miss, you double the constraint next cycle. Smaller scope, tighter clock. You reduce surface area until you can't miss. Reliability first. Ambition later. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're just living inside a loophole. 1 step away is the safest place to stand because it lets you keep the fantasy of who you could be without the discomfort of proving who you are. And that's why this pattern feels smart. It protects you from judgment. It protects you from disappointment. It protects you from finality. But it also quietly steals your future because the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards receipts. So here's the line in the sand. You don't get to negotiate the start anymore. Pick 1 artifact. Cut it down until it can be finished in a single sitting. Set a 48-hour clock. And when the clock hits 0, you ship publicly. Not because it's perfect, but because it's proof. That's the move that changes you. Not motivation, not another plan. Completion under constraint, repeated. And when your nervous system tries to bargain, 1 more tweak, 1 more night, 1 more improvement, recognize it for what it is, the old identity fighting to stay untouched. Let it fight. Ship anyway. Because confidence isn't something you find. It's something you earn after the receipt. If you want more, structures that end the negotiation and turn you into someone who finishes, go ahead and subscribe. See you on the other side.